Episode 6. Well, we're almost done. We got 2 more episodes left. So let's discuss and break this down. Once again, we're in a situation where there's not a whole lot that's happening right now. So there's not a whole lot to discuss. It's just a lot of the same stuff, right? We're still one step closer to the big fight. We're one step closer to having the 9 rings. We're one step closer to finding the Balrog, etc. So, episode starts with Arondir wandering through the woods. I guess he's decided to make his way to Eregion by following the massive orc trail, I guess, because the orcs were cutting down trees as they were traveling from Mordor to Eregion, and that's what pissed off the Ents. So Arondir has decided to follow this path of cut down trees, comes across some orcs that have decided to leave the army because they're upset with Adar, and he just gets a map. Well, it's not even a map. It looks like, I think it's supposed to be a map, but it's just a picture of Eregion, which I just thought was funny. It was like, why does an orc have a picture of Eregion? Like, an orc would have had to sit at a rock and then draw it on this piece of cloth, because that's what it looks like. Because it's not a map, it's a picture. I don't know. I just thought that was weird. There's an artist orc out there. Then we have Celebrimbor going a little bit more mad and crazy for making the rings because Sauron's there. He's forgetting people's names. He's acting more angry. And yeah, he's decided to make the rings as we've all expected him to do, because the rings have to be made, and he's just struggling with the process. Adar and Galadriel have a little talk about their next steps on what they want to do. Adar wants to kill Sauron. He then finds out that Halbrand's Sauron, even though he kind of already knew. So he's trying to work out a deal, and he's like, with the rings, with your 3 elven rings, and with this crown that I killed him with previously, he can die. Which I also thought was weird, because they kept saying, with the power of this helmet, we can kill him. But there is no power in the helmet. You just stabbed him in the back. What kind of power is that? And then they also called it Morgoth's helmet, which I thought was a little bit weird, because I don't think that's technically accurate in terms of lore, but what else is new? Also, I just don't think it matches the size or stature of Morgoth. Like, Morgoth is tall. Morgoth is not a small character. So, I don't know. I felt weird that was Morgoth's helmet. But yeah, they kind of work out some sort of agreement, but at the same time, no. And then they put this. This is just a sign of the weird quality that Amazon has. So they put restraints on Galadriel, right? The handcuffs. But the handcuffs aren't locked by, lock and key. It like shuts when it looks like by a magnet. But then they let her other arm free, so she could just unclip or pull the restraint off, because it's just a magnet, because there's no lock holding it in place. I don't know. I thought that was just, it stood out to me as really odd and silly. Then we're back in Numenor, and Arundel's paying for his crimes. Pharazôn's trying to make him essentially bend the knee. If you accept your crimes and you pledge your loyalty to me, then you're free to go. Otherwise, we have to kill you. He accepts what he did for his crimes, but he doesn't bend the knee. And then by looking in this fancy book, they say that, well, we could let the Valar decide his worth by old tradition. So then we'll find out what that is later. The hobbits are still hobbiting. There's nothing too exciting going on there. The relationship between Nobody and Poppy is expanding. And I also noticed this, which I thought was weird, because of course when you're watching Rings of Power, it shows pictures of like the cast to show you who in the cast is playing which character. And the headshot of Nobody, the character Nobody, the new steward that Poppy's falling in love with, is the same headshot that the press used and that people ran with or exposed as Sauron, which I thought was weird. And I don't know if there's anything that's actually being implied there, or if it was just new casting and they wanted to hide this character, so they pushed it as new Sauron or something. I don't know. But I just thought that was weird. Tom Bombadil and the Stranger are still talking about his staff and his goals and what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to stop Sauron, supposed to stop the Dark Wizard. And they're pushing this weird... They're taking the line of Gandalf fighting the Balrog. You are a servant, or I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Anor. And they've taken the secret fire thing and ran with it. Like, they're using this, if you want to serve the secret fire, you have to do this. If you want to serve the secret fire, you have to do that. If you want to serve the secret fire, you have to find the staff this way. If you want to serve the secret fire, like, it just seemed weird and forced. And I guess it's them trying to say that they're further trying to emphasize that it's Gandalf without telling us it's Gandalf. At this point, I'm even curious. I'm wondering, like, why can they not call him Gandalf at this point? Because if it's not Gandalf, then it's just gonna make things worse. Anatar goes to the dwarves because Celebrimbor wants more mithril, and the dwarves are delaying on their payments because they're being greedy and holding it. Anatar goes to the dwarves and asks for more mithril. They deny him, and they're like, "Well, we always, you decline the first offer and you accept the second offer," kind of thing. So we'll see when they get desperate, when they're in war, when we control the mithril, they'll make us a better offer. Prince Durin doesn't agree with this and has a little fight with his father, and we see more of the ring corrupting his father and giving him power. Disa wants to basically start a rebellion and push back against the king, so she's gonna stand in the mine shafts and prevent them from doing work. Back in Numenor, Elendil has a moment with his daughter where she's trying to convince him to obey. He's like, "No, I'm better than that. You're better than that. What are you doing? I did this because of my brother. She killed him. Nonsense, but I know that you care about her, so I brought her along with me. Maybe she can convince you to obey." He's like, "No, I'm going to go through with this. I'm going to do the trial, whatever this trial is. We don't know at this point." Back to the dwarves. Disa basically turns into Snow White and summons bats by singing and sends the bats after the miners to chase them away from digging the hole. Back at Numenor again is the trial. So the whole idea is you sit in this pool of water, a water serpent octopus creature thing will pull you in, and if it accepts you and the Valor approves of your actions and foresees something great in you, then it releases you and sends you back out of the water. If it doesn't see any greatness in you, then it kills you. It just eats you up. So Elendil's ready to accept this fate, but Miriel shows up and she decides to take the trial in his place. So she goes into the water. The water monster pulls her in and sees her as worthy, so releases her, and then this convinces all the people of Numenor that she's good and that she should be queen. Which now just seems, this whole scene of like Farazan taking control and being ruler and the rebellions that are starting. I get that there's supposed to be this pushback and the fight within Numenor, but a lot of it just seems redundant or just pointless because now the people accept Muriel again, even though we just had that scene with the eagle where the eagle showed up for Muriel, but people pretended like it was for Farazan. So now that whole scene was pointless because we have Muriel being accepted by the Valar through this water monster. And then this just leads to Farazan going to the Palantir, and I don't know if they're implying he's being touched by Sauron now, if this is why people think he's supposed to become the Witch King, or if this is what makes him even extra evil. I don't know, but he touches the Palantir, it shatters, it breaks in his mind, and he sees Halbrand look at him, and then he's like, whoa, and he gets an evil face on. Farazan looks more evil now, makes an evil face. I don't know. Adar decides to release Galadriel so that they can work together. The plan is to fight Sauron and Eregion. The elves arrive with the rings. With the power of the rings and the helmet, they can defeat Sauron, and then the Uruks and orcs that follow Adar can live peacefully in Mordor, and they will be left untouched. But he also doesn't believe that Gil-galad will accept this. Galadriel doesn't want to use the rings to do this, so now there's a disagreement. So he's just going to lock her up and march into war and fight in Eregion anyways. Galadriel then pieces together, oh wait, this is what Sauron wants. He wants you to go to Eregion. He wants you to bring this army to him because he's going to control this army and wreak havoc on Middle-earth, basically. And Adar's not listening. Celebrimbor just works on more designs with the rings, and then as this is going on, the orcs attack Eregion. So Celebrimbor is like, wait, I need to go help the people. I can't work on these rings. But Sauron is going to manipulate him once again and give him visions of seeing good and the people being happy and not show him reality. So this convinces Celebrimbor to continue working because he's like, oh, everything's fine, so I guess I'll just keep working then. And then he's also finally given the hammer that he uses to forge the rings, which was actually a gift from Anatar to Celebrimbor, I believe. Or it's Fëanor's hammer. One or the other. I can't actually quite remember that. But it was nice that he finally got this hammer, because this hammer is actually really important to Celebrimbor's character. And then, as I expected, the episode ends with just at the beginning of the attack, because the next two episodes have to be the actual battle. So that's all that really happened. There was a couple of big events, but it's a lot of the same things, because they're just they needed 8 episodes, I guess, and they couldn't fill the time, so it's a lot of the same stories that we had in the previous episodes, but just like one step further in that story. And it's just so, I don't know, we're at the point of not a lot's happening, we're just delaying time, because the last 2 episodes is when everything happens, which I just hate how that kind of writing works. And my opinions just haven't really changed, right? Like, Celebrimbor's story could be so much more interesting if he was piecing together that Sauron's evil, and instead he was making the Elven rings in secret when Sauron leaves and delivers the rings to Numenor or something like that. And then when Sauron hears that the Elven rings are made, he gets pissed, and then if the last shot of this episode was Sauron arriving with an orc army with the One Ring made in his full armor, and that's where it cut, and we lead to the next 2 episodes, that would have been amazing. And that's what I really wanted to see, but we didn't get it, and I'm upset, because I just think that would be so much cooler than this weird made-up story with Adar. Like, it's just, there's so many cool stories and events that they could do, and they're just not doing it. And it just bothers me. So yeah, that's the end of the episode, and we'll come back next week. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.